Welcome to Consciousness Chronicles. I am Linda, and I am here with my soul sister, Millie. Say hey, Millie.
Hey, Millie.
Oh, I love your smart assiness. It's my favorite.
I love you too.
Oh, and we got a great subject today.
Mhm.
Dun, da, da, da.
The art of unbecoming, remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. God,
Mm,
so powerful right now. Um, I feel that this is such a relevant subject with the things that are happening in our world. We have been told so much in the last few decades of who we are as a society, culture, genders, everything. And now things are up in having a tower moment because the tower moment in the tarot is transformational. You have to have the really difficult burning of everything in order to get to the other side of new opportunities and obstacles and challenges along the way, but you have to. And I think the art of unbecoming is really deleting everything you've been told and stepping into what you already know.
I love that.
How about you? How do you see that?
Well, we're so programmed, and the art to me of unbecoming is releasing all that programming, going through all of it and really uncovering the truth of what it is for you and your soul. Um, you're told that I'm gonna be general here, pick a medicine and this medicine will make you better. Well, no, the medicine's not healing, the medicine's covering up the symptom. You have to do your own healing. You have to get to the root of where that dis-ease is coming from in the body and address that mind, body, and spirit. So, that's one of a bazillion examples of
Mhm.
unbecoming.
I always know, and I know we talk about this all the time, and anybody who's been following our podcast the last year and a half or so uh, has seen us talk about healing our bodies by recognizing the message that the body part or the organ or whatever is trying to tell us. So I hurt, and this comes because even though I understand when my body is struggling, I still have to go look for it, and then I have to constantly be sending love to it. So I've had a foot problem. A foot on my right foot has had a problem since I went to live in Florida last year, and I was walking 4 to 6 miles in on the ocean line, sometimes twice a day. I had so much stress, and it was the only thing that could actually. I just got in my car and I just had to go do it. So I wouldn't take any medication or anything. That was just my I had to. And so the unevenness of the terrain actually messed with my hip and my foot. I moved to Puerto Rico, and because I wasn't walking that much anymore, I was now climbing mountains where I was staying with my cousin. I the pain got worse. Anyways, I saw somebody, and it's I've hurt my foot in many ways. But what my foot was trying to tell me, first of all, is the masculine side of my body, which is the right. I had to really tune in to getting rid of all the programming that had to do with a person or things on the right side of my body. That unbecoming was not easy. I mean, I'm getting better, and I have to do a lot of therapy on it and everything. So the other day I woke up and I went to meditation, and when I got meditation, my guy Cynthia, uh, as I was coming out, because at that moment Brian came out, and the last thing I heard her say is, "Why do you continue to punish yourself with your body?" And I was like, where did that come from? Because it was like a real voice in my head. Why are you punishing yourself? And Linda, I had to write about it that day. I had to really search how many times have I pushed myself so much that I've actually punished my body. And we do this with everything. We punish our bodies with food. We punish our bodies with what we take in information. We punish our bodies with overspending. We punish ourselves with addiction of all types. Okay. And that unbecoming is letting go of everything that you know to be true at this moment, because until now, this is the way you've been living. And the moment that I started releasing that, my foot's getting better, because I started releasing what it was attached to, the messages that they were attached to. And so now, instead of pushing through it like I normally bulldoze myself through, as soon as it starts, even just a little walk, I go, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to honor it, because I treat other people with so much kindness, but boy, do I have a hard time treating myself. And I know you know this, time treating myself with kindness. So I feel that part of our unbecoming is also deprogramming, like you said, everything that we knew or were told that we needed to be, what we needed to believe in until now. And once you see, you can't unsee in your life the things that you've allowed. And of course, they served their purpose. You had to go through that, you know? What about
Hmm.
you?
Well, as you were speaking, I started thinking about the generational unbecoming that presents itself. I'm thinking, because the self-loathing, all of that, you wouldn't talk to your friend the way you talk to yourself.
Mhm,
And where does that come from? We're learning that through
mhm,
our ancestral lines. My mom was a martyr, a big martyr. It
mhm,
drove me insane as a child. So I worked really hard not to be that way, but I did embody some of that for a bit in my youth, and it really served no purpose. So at some point, the awareness really had to come into a very sharp focus of, look at her. She's doing this. Look at you. Now you're emulating that. How are you going to course correct that? Because it's the whole mirror theory. You see that reflected back, and at some point it really hits you in the face, and you're like, oh no, I'm doing this. I don't want this. I am consciously aware, and I'm going to course correct now. But there are so many things that are just like down the lineage of our ancestors that we have to unbecome as well. What things have you found in your quest?
oh, moving here, moving to Puerto Rico, to the town where my family was, would all begin, and all the secrets that have come up that I, talking to family that I didn't know, because I'm a lot younger than the cousins and people that I have here. Um, I had no clue. And yet I remember conversations with my mom and other family members listening as a child, and I was unaware. So I'm also in the clearing those ancestral curses, if you may, and trying to shift the narrative, because I don't want to continue carrying that in my life or my children's lives. I mean, I'm back in the street, like where my mother used to play down the street, and my mother would have turned 100 last year. So we're talking about big stuff that's coming up. And how did I end up here? I mean, by the grace of God, I don't know. But I do know that that's part of why I'm here, is to help heal that lineage. You know, last week we went to the other side of the island with my with my kids, some of my kids that came down, and we were walking in Ponce, and this is where my father's side of the family is, and the energy is completely different. And I kept thinking, well, I'm glad I don't have to come clear this lineage over here. I'm only clearing one side. Yeah, it's once you know, and that's a big one. I think people need to be aware that they carry not just in their DNA, but in their energy, they carry all of that lineage from their culture, from their background, from their family down to. So if you want something to stop, it has to stop with you, because if you become aware of it, stop it. I
Yeah.
mean, and you're right. I mean, my mother was a martyr also, and you know, she was also a hypochondriac. And I think that that's the one of the, like, if I hear somebody complain a lot about the same thing over and over and they're not doing anything and they're not even going, I'm like, oh my God, it was my mother. And it's a trigger for me. I mean, we all have aches and we all have pains. My mother was constantly in the doctor and out of the doctor and giving pills, and there was really nothing. Like, then when she finally did have cancer, she was happy. Like, you could see it that she, like, I told you all I was gonna die of cancer. Like, it was this, I
Wow.
can't. I can't. But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And
Mm.
not that she was happy, but it seemed like she was trying to make a point, like, I told you, I knew I was gonna die of cancer. Okay. Um, so yeah, the unbecoming sometimes is a lot more difficult than the rebecoming. Like, to unbecome what you've been programmed or have been accustomed to doing is a lot more difficult than just allowing it to, you know, just go, setting it down and moving on.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, it really is. Really is. Um, and it's interesting to watch people in their unbecoming too. And sometimes very challenging to watch because you want to step in, you want to help, you want to assist, especially if it comes to your children. I'm kind of going,
Especially if
yeah,
especially if it's your kids, yeah.
yeah. I'm kind of going through that right now with my youngest, just up and left the state and moved like 5, 6 states away, like random. And he's on the spectrum. And I'm like, what the actual fuck is happening here? And
Mm-hmm.
he didn't want to talk
Mm-hmm.
about it. He really didn't want to share any of the information with me. I don't have his address, you know, and it's not because there's any lack of love there, but there's this big wall of separation coming up because he is in the process of unbecoming his younger self. And thank you, Millie, for your session in working with me to move through that because as mamas, we struggle with that, even if they're adult children. I mean, he'll be 25 years old in May.
It
A lot
doesn't
of people would
matter.
say it's time, but I'm like,
Mhm.
that's my baby you're talking about, and I
He
really
could be
struggled with
40.
that.
He could
Yeah,
be 40 and you're still going to feel the same way. I think that once you're a mother, you're a mother. It doesn't matter if they're with you or not. You you still feel it.
yep,
And it's taking him a bit because he's on the spectrum. Normally this would have happened when he was 18 or 19 or 20. And it's just him trying to find his independence. It's got nothing to do
yeah,
with you. I mean, I did it at 18.
yeah, I did
And
too.
some of my, I mean, like, it's taking him a bit.
Yeah.
And I didn't talk to my mother for a whole year. I mean, I remember she lost like 40 pounds. And I remember when I came back, I go, you are on a good Millie diet. Look how good you
You're such a brat. I love it. I love
like,
it.
but she's like, like yeah, she had a Millie diet. I think that he's just also on the unbecoming.
Yeah,
And
totally.
And it's just
Totally.
one of those that you just, as a mom, yeah, that's the hardest. Letting go as a parent is the hardest thing that we have to do.
Unbecoming.
I, oh, it's,
Unbecoming. The wanted, the needed parent, and just being an
Mhm.
adult alongside your child is like, whoa.
I had my oldest son here, um, for a few days with his girlfriend. And then my daughter, who's 29, also came up. And having fun with your adult children is very different than when you were. And there was something that he said while he was here that, you're not the same person that raised us. And I said, I was 20 years old when I had you. I was a kid myself. I was just learning. I mean, I was just, yeah, but you're so much more calm. And I go, yeah, I don't have to prove myself as a parent. And I definitely don't have to figure it out. I kind of like, no, I've already had eight. I know where I'm going. You know what I mean? But it doesn't matter when they do call you or something does show up. I go into that mama mode again, just like you, and it feels like they're 2 years old. It doesn't matter. I
Yeah.
don't think it ever. I think that even motherhood goes through the unbecoming because we start to recognize that no matter what, it's going to be okay. And if it's not, you figure it out together.
Yeah.
And now let's talk about how the unbecoming on, because I hate the word awake, but the unbecoming of spirituality, the other side of the coin, where we've been told that you have to be a certain way and believe a certain thing, or you're not spiritual, or you're spiritually bypassing, or you're doing this, or you're doing that. All these rules and regulations of spirituality, which is we're humans having this, we are spiritual beings having this human experience, and everyone has all these laws about how we should react and act. That's gotta, it's gotta be an unbecoming right there. I don't follow those rules very well.
Yeah, I can't either. It's like, oh, you shouldn't swear and you should never get mad and you should be peaceful all the time. Bullshit. Really? I don't think so, because I'm still human and I'm still here to experience this humanness. And part of the humanness is all the fuckery that you have to deal with and
Yeah.
overcome and unbecome. And, you know, I I'm gonna be me. And if you don't think it's spiritual, well, that's on you.
I love when I was living in Miami, and it's not just Miami, it's any spiritual community. They follow a lot of the Instagram people that are, influencers in the spiritual community. You have to wear certain outfits and you have to look a certain way. And you have
You
then
have the
I
little
show it.
stone
And
headbands
there,
and
and then I
your
show up without any makeup, my gray hair all wild, and I'm like, I'm showing up however I show up, and it you kind of get they don't they don't take it serious, and it I find it funny. I find it really funny. I'm like, oh, okay, and you find these, and I know you and I share reels all back and forth all the time, where they're like, how you're supposed to be, and you have these skits of people making fun, and it's not making fun because honestly, I mean, there are people that are like that are very calm and they're very, and I've met one or two in my lifetime that they embody that peace. I don't. I'm Latina. I'm gonna always be loud. There's no I'm not gonna I am not gonna be walking around pretending. That's just not, it's not me. That's not, and I'm not gonna pretend. So, you know, I can't, just like you, I don't fall into any kind of um category that is acceptable for my spirituality. And that's okay. I have you. I know. We could join that together.
well, and to me, the essence of life is supposed to be fun and joyful. And that's more spiritual than any of
Yeah.
this other woo-woo stuff that
Well, joy is the highest frequency
yes. Hmm.
to reach your spiritual truth.
Yeah.
Love is the second. Those two right there, if you can hold on to those two, you're great.
Yep.
You're great.
Yeah.
So good
Yeah.
subject.
Yeah. I like it. I like it a lot. Well, my dear,
Thank you.
I appreciate you joining me as
Mm.
always. You are amazing and beautiful,
You
and
are
I love
amazing.
you.
I
And
love you
everybody,
too.
thank you for sticking with us. If you made it this far, please like, share, and subscribe.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, yes. And with that, we will see you next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye.